Welcome to this interesting topic, which is just like the one we did previously, transport in plants. This time we're going to look at transport in mammals, how things are transported from one part of the body to another in mammals. So the entire topic is going to be delivered into three separate parts. The first is the heart. We're going to start the heart, which is going to be the focus of this video. The second is going to be the blood vessels, and the last one is going to be the blood. So why do animals need transport systems? Okay, so the first reason is they need transport systems so as to transport dissolved food substances from the intestines to the tissue cells. Okay, remember what we studied on animal nutrition. We discussed that absorption of food, once food is digested, it is absorbed in the small intestines. Okay, in the ileum to be specific. So once the food is digested, it is absorbed, it has to be taken to other tissue cells that need that food. Okay, so remember when we're studying small intestines, we talked about the blood capillaries. So those ones, they do the job of transporting from the intestines to the other parts of the body. The other reason is to transport oxygen from the lungs to the tissue cells. Okay, so when you breathe in oxygen, oxygen goes to the lungs, the alveoli, just like we did in respiration. I think by now you should now be able to connect other topics, other parts of the human body that we studied, respiration, animal nutrition. They should come together now as we are studying transport in animals. They should make sense. So oxygen in the alveoli, when it reaches there, it has to be taken to other parts of the body, such as the brain, the feet. So how does that happen? So that happens as a result of a transport system. Also, to transport hormones from the endocrine glands to target organs. Of course, we haven't looked about hormones, but you can know that in human beings, we have actually, in mammals there are hormones. Even in plants there are hormones. So these hormones have to be transported from where they are made, which are called endocrine glands, to where they need to be used, which are target organs. To carry metabolic waste from tissue cells to excretory organs. So when cells are doing whatever they're supposed to do, there are always waste products, things that don't need to be used, things that have been left out after some important things have happened. So these waste products have to be transported to where they're supposed to be removed from the body. So once they are made, wherever they're going to be made, they have to be taken to excretory organs. So we need the transport system for that. So the transport systems of mammals are the blood circulatory system, which is also called the cardiovascular system. So there are two transport systems in mammals. The first one is the blood circulatory system, which transports blood. The other one is called the lymphatic system. So we're going to take a look at each, but we're going to spend most of the time studying the blood circulatory system, also called the cardiovascular system. So this is the general outlook of the cardiovascular system. Okay, so we have the heart at the center, and we have veins which transport blood to all parts of the body. There are two types of veins, to be specific. There are these ones in red, and there are these ones in blue. Okay, so we're going to study these types of veins and also the heart. Of course, what is transported, or the form in which materials are transported from one part to another, is in form of blood. So we're going to study the heart, which is the center of this system. Then we're going to study the veins. After the veins, we're going to study the blood itself. So the heart. So these are the main parts of the heart. The first is, by the way, when you look at the heart, there is the left side and the right side. So the way the heart is drawn is, it's like the horn of this heart is facing you. Okay, so your left is their right and your right is their left. So what I'm trying to say is, on your left hand side, that's where we expect to have what is called a right atrium, because this person we're studying is facing us. Okay, so your left is their right, so this is called the right atrium. Then on the other side we have the left atrium, then we have the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Okay, so these are chambers of the heart. They say the heart has 4 chambers. These are the chambers: the right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Then other than that, we have the center of the heart called the septum. So the septum is this part here, that's the septum. Okay, then other than the septum, we have the veins. Okay, so let me just rephrase what I've said. So other than the septum, we have the blood vessels, which are in 2 types: the veins and the arteries. So in the I think a minute ago I said the transport system is made of the heart, the the blood and the veins. So I meant to say the blood vessels. So there are 2 types of blood vessels: veins and arteries. Okay, those ones which I had shown you, which were in blue and red, they are called blood vessels, which are in 2 types: veins and arteries. So these blood vessels, they connect to the heart from here, 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 and here. So the veins are the ones that bring blood to the heart. Then the arteries take blood away from the heart. So there are 2 types of veins which are connected to the heart. The first is called the vena cava, which is connected to the right atrium. So blood comes through the vena cava like this. Then from here it will go to the right ventricle. Then from here it will escape through here to the artery, because blood is because this path is where blood goes out of the heart. So this is the artery. Okay, the arteries are the ones that bring blood to the are the ones that take blood away from the heart. The veins are the ones that bring blood to the heart. So the vena cava brings blood from the rest of the body to the right atrium. So the other type of vein is called the pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein. So this pulmonary vein brings blood from the lungs to the left atrium. So other than that, now we go to the arteries. There are 2 types of arteries connected to the heart. The first is called the pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery, like I said, is the one that takes blood away from the heart to the lungs. Okay, so you can also say that actually the blood vessels that start with the word pulmonary are somehow connected to the lungs. Pulmonary vein brings blood from the lungs to the heart. Pulmonary artery takes blood from the heart to the lungs. Okay, the last type of artery is called aorta. So this aorta takes blood from the heart to the rest of the body. Okay, so this one actually does a lot of work. Take blood from the heart to the rest of the body. It's a big job as compared to the pulmonary artery, which just takes to one organ, which is the lungs. So you're going to understand or appreciate the differences between the aorta and the pulmonary artery, and the vena cava and the pulmonary vein when we start blood vessels. Other than this, we also have what are called valves. The role of valves is to prevent blood from flowing backwards. So blood has to go in one direction. Otherwise, if it's flowing backwards, then it won't be progressing in a single direction. So the first one is called, there are 2 here which I've highlighted. The first one is called tricuspid valve. So this tricuspid valve is found between the right atrium and the right ventricle. So its job is to make sure that blood which flows to the right ventricle does not flow back to the right atrium. The other one is this one here called semilunar valve. So the job of the semilunar valve is to make sure that blood which is supposed to go to the pulmonary artery does not flow back to the right ventricle. The other types of valves that we have the bicuspid valve, bicuspid valve, here is tricuspid, here it's bicuspid. So the bicuspid valve is found between the pulmonary vein and the pulmonary vein and the left ventricle. Sorry, the left atrium and the left ventricle. So it prevents blood from flowing from the left ventricle back to the left atrium, because blood comes like this. So it prevents blood from flowing backwards. The last one is the aortic semilunar valve. Here we have a semilunar valve, but on the side of the aorta, we have the aortic semilunar valve. So this one prevents blood from flowing back from the aorta to the left ventricle. So these are the parts of the heart. So how does the heart works? First, what's the function of the heart? The function of the heart is to pump blood around the body. How does it do that? So it has these features. So in short, the heart is adapted to do its function by having these features. So first, the whole of the heart is made of a type of muscle called cardiac muscle. So whenever you see this word cardiac muscle, we're talking about the muscles that makes up the heart. So the first feature is it is myogenic. So this is a biological term which means the stimulus for contraction originates from a special path of cardiac muscle called the pacemaker, also called sinoatrial node. We write it as SAN in short. This one is found in the right atrium. So for the heart to do the beating action, to pump blood by the beating action, it has to contract and relax, to contract and relax. So that contracting action comes from a special muscle called a pacemaker. So because of the pacemaker, the heart is able to contract and relax, contract and relax. The other feature is it does not develop fatigue. The heart does not get tired. It keeps on pumping so long as the person is living. So now the contraction of cardiac muscle is a process called systole. Okay, then the opposite is the relaxation, which is called diastole. So in short, instead of saying contraction, relaxation, we'll be using the word systole and diastole. So systole, contraction, diastole, relaxation. So now we're going to study how the heartbeat happens. Like, what are the sequence for a single heartbeat? What happens to the muscles of the heart, and when does it contract and when does it relax? What contracts, what relaxes? Just like the way we studied on peristalsis, we talked about contraction and relaxation. Okay, so in biology we're going to be studying this a lot. Okay, so we're going to do the same here. So we're going to start a single heartbeat is made of the first stage being what is called atrial systole. So atrial systole is where the atrium, what I'm talking about, the right atrium and the left atrium, contract. So when they contract, they squeeze blood. Okay, so when this chamber contracts, it becomes smaller, so it squeezes blood so that blood goes into the right ventricle, and this one also, blood goes into the left ventricle. Okay, after that there is what follows, which is called ventricle systole. By the way, between the atrial systole and the ventricle systole, the heart pauses. When it does atrial systole, it pauses a bit, then it does ventricle systole. So once it does ventricle systole, mean that the ventricles, the right ventricle and the left ventricle, are going to squeeze blood out of the heart to go to the arteries. Okay, so these are the stages of a single heartbeat. So the type of circulation that happens in mammals or man is called double circulation or dual circulation. So what is this? So this is a type of circulation where blood passes through the heart twice during one circulation around the body. Okay, so it passes through the heart 2 times during one circulation around the body. It involves 2 types of circulation. The first is called the pulmonary circulation. The other one is called the systemic circulation. Remember the word pulmonary, it is associated with the lungs. Okay, so this pulmonary circulation should have something to do with the lungs. So now if we picture this now, During pulmonary circulation, blood flows from the heart to the lungs and back like this. Okay, so this is pulmonary circulation. So blood will be flowing to the lungs to get oxygen and to make sure that the carbon dioxide it has collected from the body is taken by the alveoli so that we breathe it out. Okay, so after that there is the second, which is systemic, where blood now is pushed to the rest of the body through the aorta like this. So this is systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation, it goes through the lungs and comes back. Systemic circulation, it goes to the rest of the body and comes back. Okay, so these are very important points, and you're going to see how they are connected to the way veins were designed, the way veins have features that makes them do what they do. So we are going to take a look at heart rate and pulse rate, which are just terms which are associated with the functioning of the heart. So the term heart rate refers to the number of heartbeats per minute. It is measured by an instrument called a stethoscope. That thing which doctors, medical doctors, that you're going to see around the necks of medical doctors, it's called a stethoscope. Very important too. So normal adult human beings have at rest, that is without when they are not exercising, they have about 72 beats per minute. So there are some factors that affect or modify the normal resting of the heart, and this includes sleeping, emotional excitement, illness, and physical exercise. So sleeping, emotional excitement, and physical exercise can increase the heartbeat, while illness can reduce the heartbeat, depending on the type of illness, of course. It can also happen that it increases heartbeat. There's another term which is closely associated with heart rate, which is called a pulse rate, and it comes from the understanding of a pulse, which is just a wave of pressure created in the arteries by a heartbeat. The number of pulses per minute is called the pulse rate. So this pulse rate is the easiest way to measure the heartbeat without a stethoscope. You can just put your index finger on the wrist of someone. You are going to feel the pulse, so you can measure the number of pulses per minute and you can have an idea of the heart rate of that person. We end this discussion by taking a look at coronary heart diseases. Okay, so what are some of the common heart diseases? So the blockage of coronary arteries with fatty materials, mainly cholesterol, is what brings about coronary heart diseases. So cholesterol is a very special type of fats that can block arteries and that can bring diseases. So there are different types of diseases depending on what this cholesterol does to the arteries. The first is called atheroma. So this is an accumulation of fat materials in the holes of the coronary arteries. So when these fat materials they accumulate there, you're going to have atheroma because it's going to affect the way blood flows. The second one is called sclerosis, so which is just the hardening of the holes of the coronary arteries due to the presence of fatty materials. So these fatty materials, which can also accumulate, sometimes can make holes of the coronary arteries to become very hard. This can cause this disease called sclerosis. The third is called thrombosis. So this thrombosis is just the blockage of the coronary arteries by a mixture of blood clots, fat material, and fibers. Blood clot is blood that is becoming hard. So if this mixes with fat materials and other fibers, you are going to have thrombosis. So a blood clot within the blood vessel is called a thrombus. So if there is a blood which has clotted within a blood vessel, it's called a thrombus. So the next one is angina, which is just a sharp pain experienced in the heart and left arm after exertion due to the presence of an atheroma or thrombus in the coronary artery. Then we have embolus. We have embolus, which is a moving clot that results when a thrombus is pushed out of place by a heartbeat. So a thrombus, remember a thrombus, if it is pushed, then it starts moving around your body, you have embolus. If it reaches the brain, it may cause bursting of blood vessels, resulting in stroke. Then we have heart failure, which is just a condition where the heart fails to pump blood due to a limited supply of blood caused by blockage of the coronary arteries. Okay, so for the heart to continue with its action, it needs blood to be there. So because of this blockage, maybe not enough blood can reach the heart and it will fail to pump blood. That is what is termed as heart failure. So causes of coronary diseases. So the one of the causes is excessive intake of fat food. So if you eat a lot of fat, you're going to have coronary heart diseases. You increase the chances of having coronary heart diseases because these fatty foods can easily be converted to cholesterol, which in turn blocks the coronary arteries. Then also smoking. Cigarette smoke contains a stimulant called nicotine, which tends to promote the accumulation of cholesterol in the body. So when we were doing respiration, we talked about tar and its effect to the respiratory system. But to the circulatory system, the issue is not tar, it's nicotine. So cigarette contains a lot of harmful substances. Okay, so for circulatory system, the issue is nicotine. But of course, there are other issues which we're going to study, which comes which comes as a result of cigarette smoking. Then another issue is emotional stress and heartbreaks. Okay, they can cause coronary heart diseases. The body secretes high levels of adrenaline during emotional stress. This also tends to promote accumulation of cholesterol in the bloodstream. So adrenaline, we're going to study it when we take a look at the endocrine system. Yeah, but just know that when you are stressed, you can there's this chemical which is secreted called adrenaline. This can cause the accumulation of cholesterol in the bloodstream. And finally, the lack of exercises. You should be exercising. So how to prevent coronary diseases: 1, avoid excessive intake of fat foods; 2, avoid smoking; 3, avoid emotional stress; and exercise regularly, like I said. So this marks the end of this interesting topic. So next we're going to take a look at blood vessels. Happy solving.